Red Bull has just blasted silly season wide open again with the announcement of the arrival of Liam Lawson for the RB team. This normally puts Ricciardo up for retirement, but what if Sauber Audi strikes? And what does this mean for Perez and Red Bull? These are all questions we're getting answers for in the next couple of weeks. But in the background, something bigger is brewing, something Red Bull might not be able to stop from happening. And it's not a good thing for them. Red Bull has spent the most of 2024 rejecting Max Verstappen's potential departure and dealing with Mercedes' blatant flirtation with its Formula One world champion. However, it may have finally, however indirectly, accepted the necessity for a backup plan, and Mercedes may have the key. Could we see the switch of the century happening next year? Red Bull team principal Christian Horner hinted strongly that George Russell may become a significant target for his team to recruit in 2026, saying it would be foolish not to consider the fact that Russell's contract expires at the end of next year. "Look, we're not afraid to go out of the pool," Horner told Sky Sports. "George Russell is out of contract at the end of next year. It would be foolish not to take that into consideration. There are other drivers, talented drivers, that will be out of contract as well." Russell was expected to be Mercedes' leader after Lewis Hamilton retired, and when Hamilton's surprise Ferrari switch for 2025 was confirmed earlier this year, Russell's position appeared to be even more secure. However, if Mercedes returns to being a championship contender again, with the new rules in 2026 providing a fantastic opportunity to reset the pecking order, Russell may not be there to profit, assuming Mercedes' chase of Verstappen ultimately bears fruit. Mercedes is now adamant that it is extremely satisfied with Russell, reiterates its high opinion of him, and says it intends to focus on maximizing 2025 with him and Hamilton's replacement, Kimi Antonelli. Toto Wolff, team manager, rejected Horner's accusations as always trying to stir the shit and stated that Russell is a Mercedes driver, has been forever, and hopefully will be forever, since we have a long contract with him. "I think he is always stirring shit up. It is part of the game," Wolff said. "George is a Mercedes driver and has been forever and hopefully will be forever. We have a long contract with him. These two are the future," Wolff said about Russell and Antonelli. "They have been and will be Mercedes drivers, and therefore we have contracts with George and Kimi that go much longer, that are very complicated in terms of options, etc. Mercedes has always been a pressure cooker, but this is where we stand as a team today. We want to go with these two." However, based on publicly available information, Russell appears to be on a short-term deal with Mercedes' F1 team. He signed a new contract in 2023, which Mercedes stated would last until the end of 2025. And, with Mercedes deciding to elevate their youthful prodigy Antonelli to an F1 seat after just one season in Formula 2, many people are asking if Antonelli and Verstappen will form Mercedes' future lineup. While Wolff took a go at Horner, it is Wolff who has steered the Mercedes driver narrative in this way. He was eager to promote Antonelli and spoke highly of him while also pursuing Verstappen. That effort has been put on hold, but Wolff intends to attempt again later, with the next opportunity set for 2026. 3 drivers in 2 seats would not work. Thus, Mercedes will have to sacrifice one of its own to secure Verstappen. Unsurprisingly, Wolff does not want to contemplate what-ifs regarding his own drivers, and does not believe this is a meaningful issue until the 2025 season begins and the situation becomes clearer. Perhaps Verstappen will not emerge as an option at all. Perhaps Mercedes' drivers are both exceptional, making the option to keep both and avoid Verstappen a simple one. But Russell's prospective availability stems from more than merely being out of contract. The conditions at Mercedes may alter such that he no longer fits within the company's ambitions. And, with Verstappen almost probably heading to Mercedes, Red Bull would have a significant gap to fill, which Russell would be ideal for. Red Bull is experiencing a driving problem of its own creation. Verstappen is remaining in 2025 and is under contract until the end of 2028. But no one feels his career is safe due to a variety of Red Bull concerns, including power battles, Jos Verstappen's rivalry with Horner, and the team's dismal competitive trajectory in 2024. Furthermore, Verstappen appears to be getting increasingly bored with all of the peripheral aspects of F1, which may speed his intention for an early retirement. Even worse for Red Bull than the possibility of losing its star driver is the fact that it has yet to develop a contingency plan. Whether Verstappen is enticed away by another team or simply becomes tired of F1, Red Bull requires a plug-in-and-play lead driver, which it currently lacks. While Horner wasn't saying anything particular and could just say he was considering bringing Russell in alongside Verstappen, it seems like a non-starter in reality. Any consideration for Russell must be as a substitute for the world champion. Red Bull has never sought to match Verstappen with someone who could challenge him, and Russell, as both a driver and a personality, would not settle for second place. The two have also had some run-ins together, so although they aren't mortal enemies, this doesn't feel like a natural fit. The only obvious conclusion is that Red Bull views Russell as a potential Verstappen Plan B, depending on how the driver market unfolds. This might be Red Bull's first genuine admission that it has to ponder life beyond Verstappen. This makes a lot of sense. Russell has his detractors, but he is a solid driver. His qualifying performance is consistently outstanding, and he has annihilated Lewis Hamilton on Saturdays this year. While he has made the occasional high-profile blunder in his Mercedes and has been aggressive with his race management, he has also delivered some really solid drives and is a seasoned race winner. He could be a world championship contender in the proper car, and if Verstappen left tomorrow, none of Red Bull's current choices could claim to be on that level. Red Bull cannot anticipate what will happen inside its own driver ranks at this time, let alone how the driver market will evolve over the next 18 months. So it's not going to make a choice anytime soon. But if Russell is a young, race-winning driver who appears to be out of contract for 2026, it would be more than foolish to overlook him. It would be irresponsible. But the time will only tell if it happens. And let's not forget the fact that he has to show his worth next year. He needs to lead the team now. Because when Mercedes opted to replace Valtteri Bottas with George Russell for the 2022 Formula One season, the intention was clear. Russell would effectively serve an apprenticeship with Lewis Hamilton before eventually succeeding him as the team's leader. Hamilton's decision to leave his current Mercedes contract a year early and switch to Ferrari for 2025 accelerates the timeline on which Russell must be fully prepared to take on that responsibility, and it's legitimate to be concerned if Russell has yet done enough to convince. Some recurrent issues arose during the 2024 Canadian Grand Prix, in which Russell qualified first and led, but he also committed mistakes and did not exploit the opportunity. Russell still exhibits seeming imprecision or clumsiness in the midst of combat. We know Russell can pull off amazing overtaking moves, like he did on Hamilton in Canada, but he also has a tendency to make too many mistakes. Whether it's bouncing off Max Verstappen in Las Vegas last season, or Mick Schumacher's Haas in Singapore in 2022, not managing to overtake Oscar Piastri's McLaren cleanly in Canada, bouncing off the walls in Singapore and Canada in 2023, and almost repeating the mistake in Canada in 2024, allowing Lando Norris back through, Russell's races are too frequently a bit too messy for someone who needs to be pushing himself into the absolute elite tier of F1 drivers to be co. The Singapore shunt, which occurred when Russell had a podium but also a chance of victory, raised the question of whether he is still prone to overreaching because his opportunities to be truly successful, with a team that should be automatically associated with success, are still few and far between. Russell's performance in winning the 2022 Brazilian Grand Prix and almost winning on his Mercedes debut, replacing for Hamilton at the 2020 Sakir Grand Prix, demonstrates he is fully capable of delivering under pressure when the occasion demands. And the sheer pace, as seen by his qualifying record against Hamilton, is undeniable, especially in 2024. Perhaps Russell is still pushing too close to his own limit and isn't allowing enough room for mistake. Charles Leclerc has occasionally been accused of using up a little too much mental bandwidth pulling speed from the car, leaving little capacity for larger thought and strategical concerns. It also appears that Russell still lacks Hamilton's, albeit outstanding, skill to properly manage the Pirelli tyres during races. The Singapore 2023 accident was thought to be caused in part by Russell's aggressive pursuit of the leaders, which left him exposed, whilst Hamilton drove more cautiously. Some of it might also stem from sheer irritation with Mercedes' failure to perform at the desired level. What do you think? Can Russell lead Mercedes next year? And will that save his Mercedes' future? Or will Wolff still pursue Verstappen? And will this cause another merry-go-round next year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.